Restoration of my TMAXX Classic. In this video, we're going to be doing some little things here and there. In the previous video that you guys have seen about Project Clash in the beginning, I put it, 2-minute video of it running. It was running really rough and needs to be tuned, but there's a couple issues that I've been having, and so we're going to have to go fix them now. But yeah, guys, so this is going to be a series of restoration of steps here and there. In this video, we're going to be fixing all the linkages, making this thing fully operational, adjusting the 2-speed. And then next video, we'll go test it out and drive it and see what's going on. Yeah, guys, here we go. But first off, we're going to have to clean this area. I was just working on Project Clash last night. I was inspecting the front and rear diff. And so, yeah, there's no grease in the front diff. I never took this thing apart. But the rear one I did. But I was just making sure that all the gears have not been worn out or shark finned just because of the amount of power I've been pushing to this thing. And everything's been holding up good. So yeah, guys, time will tell once we get some new tires for this thing, because I'm gonna have to get some very soon. These things suck. Alright, guys, so as you guys can see, this is what it looks like up close. You have the radio box kind of just dangling here. That's how I was driving it. You got also this box held in by one screw. All these wires dangling out. I made this just for a temporary fix for the linkage. I'll show you what the issue is right there. There's the exhaust manifold. We got to find a better mount for it so it doesn't flop around and everything. And we got to secure it a little bit better because this whole rear end's covered in oil. But yeah, guys, I mean, motor's in really good shape. Got to fix this fuel tank. But yeah, so basically what I'm going to encounter now is I'm going to take off all the things that are wrong with this. And we are going to assess and redo the wiring harness on this. And fix the throttle linkage, which is going to be the hardest part, I feel. Next, we're going to tackle the 2-speed and start adjusting that. I'm just going to turn it way low so it shifts a little early, and then we'll go from there. And then the last thing but not least is going to be the steering, because this thing steers terribly because it's not centered up right. So once we get all these done, then we should in theory be able to... Oh wait, I'm also going to secure this a little bit better. But we should be, in theory, able to drive this thing no problem, tune it properly, as well as drive it properly. Once we're done with that, then we're going to go from there and do some other things. But yeah, guys, let's get right into it. Alright, so one cool thing I've been doing is I've been using these nut drivers as that usually goes into this handle right here. I've been putting it into a drill because it works pretty good. But it works pretty good. So that's what I'm going to be doing for now often. So let's go get all these wheels off first. Alright, much better. Alright, so now the next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to remove all the electronics, the battery, everything. And we're going to get those good. We're going to find some zip ties. So we can zip tie all the wires down and make everything look neat. Okay, just unplugged all the wires, so this should just come out freely. Just going to pull this out. So yeah, here's the radio box right here. Got the antenna. Using the Junior Racing radio box right here. I mean the receiver right here. Really cool, interesting features. This is an FM radio, and the way how this one works is there's 2 dials on here, so you don't have to use crystals. You literally just turn the dials to what it is and then what you want, and then match the radio through the settings through there. There's also 6 model memories. 6 model memories, which is really cool feature. So I actually have 2 of these receivers, so which is really nice. So I can always, if I ever get another RC, put another receiver in the other car, so I have a temporary, radio. But yeah, guys, so got that out. Now we're just gonna take the battery and everything now and the fuel tank. Okay, so we got the fuel tank off. There's this, one of these posts are actually broken off. I remember, I think I did that like 3 years ago, but that's not a big deal. It's not leaking, so it's gonna be held in by 3 screws. But I gotta find the right screws because I remember, I guess, a long time ago, I just kind of cobbled it together. I didn't really know what I was doing. That was before I had the LST and everything like that. So I'm gonna have to put new screws in there and found out a better way. Looking kind of gross in there. Also, yeah, there's mix match hardware, but you know what? Those things haven't came loose, so I'm just gonna leave it and see what happens. When Well, next thing to do is to get all this wiring off, so let's go do that. So now, look, this is basically all we have to the system. We have the receiver right here, the servo for the steering, and the servo for the throttle, as well as the power switch right here. So, good thing about this type of power switch, I got these is an TMAXX power switch off Amazon. Came in a pack of 3. I needed one for my RS4. But anyways, what's good about these is they have 3 leads coming out of them. So for the Traxxas vehicles, it's a pain in the butt to take the battery out of them to charge it. So this has an extra charging lead. So you just power off and then you charge it up. I use the same system on my WPL. I have a different switch for it, though, not these TMAXX switches. But that works too because my battery is really tucked in there. I actually have it taped into the chassis. So in order to charge it up, I just have an extra lead hanging out. So yeah. When you guys are looking for power switches, I recommend you get something like this because even if you don't use it, it is quite a nice feature. Yeah, guys, so now I'm just going to mount this switch in. Try to mount it in here, but if not, I'm going to find a better way to mount it. Maybe I'll put some like double-sided tape right here, but we'll find something out for that. And then these wires, I'm thinking I'm just going to go actually right through here. I don't see why we can't do it, but right through here, and I'm going to tuck it up right up here. Just that there's no drive shaft right here, so actually, yeah, I don't even have to do that. So I'm just gonna put the wires right through here, and that's gonna come right into here, and then we're just gonna permanently mount this box with 2 bolts or something like that. We'll figure that out, and then plug it all into this receiver. So yeah, guys, let's go do that. So basically, what I'm doing right now is I just drilled this hole at the top. I'm gonna clean this up with something, don't worry. But this is gonna be the charging lead. And then I have to been drilling this hole in the top and trying to make this thing fit. So I just sanded it down a little bit. Also with this switch right here, I had to sand this down. So I'm going to try to fit into here. I'm going to try to make it right. I'm going to try to put it where it's supposed to be. And then this is just going to go through the top right here, down there, into the battery. And then therefore I don't have to remove one of these batteries every time I want to charge it. So that's going to be nice. It'll be nice and hidden in a way. So that's going to be good. Let's do that. Alright, it's about probably 25 minutes later. This thing took a long time to sort out. The battery box was a pain in the butt, but I ended up having to drill a hole here and then a hole through a plastic piece like going right here. So I can have my charging wire come out, as well as my wire going in for the battery. The battery is so tight in there, fitting all the wires and stuff. I actually had the wire on top of the battery, like here's the battery, here's the wire, and then here's the top of the case. And just from that wire, that one wire, it wouldn't even fit, so I had to move it all around and everything like that and tuck the wire somewhere else. It's kind of crazy. This TMAXX, they just literally stuffed everything in here. We left off with fixing the battery and getting all the wires nice and tucked. So now I'm thinking our next step is to fix this throttle, which is going to be really difficult, but I have an idea. So first off, we're going to take this off really quick. Alright guys, so get that off. It was super easy. It took me about 30 seconds. But here's what happens when I apply throttle, and I'm gonna pop this air filter off to show you guys what's going on. So let me turn on my light really quick. So as you guys can see, we're about half throttle right now, and we're going to about full throttle. So there's full throttle. But here's what happens. If you keep on going by accident, see how that extended all the way, but this stays still? Now look what happens when you turn the servo back. The servo goes back, the spring compresses, but this gets stayed wide open. Now this is an issue. Even though, and then to pop this back, you have to move this. So even though, if I set it right, I could still get almost full throttle without it not breaking. This is completely extended back, and if anything were to happen, any little vibration, and this goes a hair more than usual, then it's just gonna stay at wide open throttle, and we do not want that. This motor running away because of stupid linkage. And so what I'm gonna do to change this is I have this part right here, and this is not the part that's worn out. It's either I'm gonna have to mess with, I'm thinking that either this little link right here is too short and I need to make it a little bit longer. That's I think that what we're gonna have to do here. And I also want to put a new ball in if I can find a new one on the end, because this one is super loose, as you guys can see. Just by pushing it off like that, takes no pressure to take that off, and if that happens and this thing's at like half throttle, it's gonna just drive away on itself. So we're gonna fix that really quick. So that's what I'm gonna try to do, guys. I'm gonna adjust that up, get the throttle linkage good, and then we're gonna adjust the throttle and brake, and then yeah, guys. Alright guys, so I ended up dreading this day for a while, but it really wasn't that bad. So here's the old bin, and it is pretty jacked up. It is pretty worn out. So I found a new one just looking through the parts that we got. And then I ended up loosening this, like making this link a little bit longer right here. So now it is incredibly a lot harder. So look, that's full throttle. Then this is how much you have to push a servo for it to get stuck. And you have to put a lot of force. And that's how you get stuck. You have to do that much. So that will work very, very well for our application. It will not have an issue as long as you set our exponentials right, or x endpoints. Sorry. Next thing I'm going to do is, I'm thinking for this, I'm probably going to either put a little bit of silicone back here, or I'm thinking hot glue, but I'm going to do that another time. That was not the next thing that I'm going to do, sorry. But let's pop this air filter back on, and let's go sort out the steering. So now the steering issue that I'm having is this servo is not centered up, so I'm barely steering one way and steering fine the other way. And now I feel like the TMAXX with these ball end designs should have pretty good steering, hopefully when I'm done with this, but as of right now it's very bad actually. So let's go fix that really quick. We got a upgraded metal servo in here too, so we shouldn't have any issues with that. So yeah guys, we're gonna go sort that out. Let's get everything set up. Alright guys, so you should always do this whenever you take off your steering horn, and I guess it was done the wrong way, but let's just power on this really quick, power on the car and power on the controller, and there you go guys. Sorry about the buzzing, but these servos are a little old, it's a little jittery, but so, as you guys can see, if you look at the servo horn compared to the steering, first of all, I'm all the way to one side on the steering trim, and we're still not straight. We still have to turn. So this way, got that. But this way, going left, you have basically nothing. So what we're gonna have to do is, I'm gonna put this all the way to center our steering trim. And you should always do this whenever you're putting in a new servo. I recommend when you're putting the servo horn on, we're gonna set this to 0. We're gonna take this off. So, and then we're gonna shut off the car. We're gonna shut off the radio. Now that we know our servo is centered, we're gonna loosen this up. Right here. And you might want to check again when you're done, but as long as you don't move the servo, you should be good. So we're gonna pop this off. We're gonna get our flathead screwdriver really quick. Just gonna pop this off right here, and we're gonna center it up. So now what's happening is, the reason why it won't turn anymore is that this servo won't spin anymore because it's not set up right. So we're going to line up our that's pretty straight, and then where does this land? It lands right about there, so we're just gonna press it down, find the notches, and we're gonna just tap that down just a little, and it's almost in there. So now we're just gonna send the screw in nice and slow. Now this is a metal steering horn, so we cannot strip these. I mean, this is a metal steering servo, so you need a machine screw. Where plastic servos, you'll not use a machine screw, you use probably a self tapper. We're gonna put that in there. And then basically you want to go. You will basically want to make it as tight. My rule is basically I tighten it up until the steering servo moves without me holding it, and that should be pretty good. So now we're gonna test that out. We're gonna power on our radio, power on that, and see, that is a little bit too much. So we got our servos flexing a little bit right now because we have our endpoints a little too far. So what we're gonna do on the radio really quick is, sorry about the lighting, but we're gonna go to our steering, and that's set at max. So we're gonna turn that, hold it all the way. We're gonna decrease it until it stops doing that. Gonna increase it a little bit more, a little less. And that seems like the good spot right there. because this is at 92 right now. We're gonna increase it a little bit and see what happens. But we are getting some more steering angle. So that looks about good right there. So basically the rule of thumb is this servo mount is not the best. I don't know why. I think just because there's nothing right here. But the rule of thumb is basically you increase the exponential until this will not steer anymore, until you stop seeing steering and you start seeing the servo saver expand. So if you have this set up too high, that's how you burn out servos, because they're working under a lot of stress and they're mechanically, mechanically or physically cannot turn anymore, but they're still trying to turn. Now we're going to do the other side, and that is at 45 over here. So we're going to increase it. We're going to do 67 and see what's going on. You can go a little more. And we could technically go a little bit more, but we can't go really anymore with the servo horn, because if you have these completely straight, that your steering can get jammed up. So that's basically how much steering we can have the other way. So that is light years better than what we just had before. So we're just gonna roll with that. I noticed that we got a missing screw right here. I gotta put one in there. But yeah, guys. So we fixed the steering, we fixed the throttle. Now let's adjust the 2-speed accordingly. We're just gonna do a rough estimate. I think we're just gonna do one full turn out, or maybe a little more. I'd rather shift a little early than a little late. We can always fine tune it. So I just want to make sure that it'll shift. So I'm probably gonna loosen it up and see what happens. But yeah, guys. Yeah, for rolling start. 3, 2, 1, go! Yeah, baby. The wind, man, is picking your car up like a sail. Alright, guys, so we gotta take a little bit of a detour. I can't use my drivers because they're too wide, and my 2mm Allen key is rounded off at the end on each side. So, gotta take it to the file and clean it down a little bit. Alright, guys, so I found the hole. I almost forgot how 2-speeds worked and how you have to line the inner mechanism from the outer gear hole. But I figured that out. I just haven't messed with the 2-speed in a long time because, I mean, my LSD's been doing pretty good, and also when I adjust that 2-speed mechanism is completely different from a normal one. It almost works like a centrifugal clutch, and it's a lot smoother engagement than a regular conventional 2-speed, where there's a little pin that flips out like that and engages. So yeah, guys, so here's where it was, and we're gonna go tight, and as you guys can see, it's only a half turn from being all the way out, where Traxxas recommends 5 to 6 turns out. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do 6 turns to be a little on the safe side. Rather this thing shift early and know that it's shifting than shift late. Plus, I want to keep this motor in pristine condition because it is in pristine condition. I don't want this thing revving out too high. even though it's a 3.3. It has low miles on it. But so yeah, guys. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. It's getting tight, but that's good. All right, now it's loose again. 3, 4, 5, 6. A little more than 6. Let's go. Why is it getting tight? Oh, that's weird. I bet you every 3 turns it's been getting tight, but I bet you just some junk in the threads. Seal it off, basically, and hopefully we never have to adjust it again. We'll spin this around, nice and smooth. And these differentials feel really good too. I feel like the front one's a little bit tighter than the rear one, but I bet you that's just simply because it's just the oil got cooked after a while. Alright guys, so let's completely assemble this back on. So we're gonna put this on. Alright guys, so that wraps this video up. Everything should be ready to go. All I gotta do is just put a new fuel tank. Put the old fuel tank back in, and secure this pipe a little bit better. But I'm not gonna record that. This video's been going on for a while. I'm gonna have to adjust the trims, but that's all gonna come with when I test drive this thing the next time I take it out, which I don't know when that's gonna be, but it's definitely gonna be in a video, that's for sure. So stay tuned for that. I'm thinking about taking out my LST. I might record that, I don't know, but stay tuned for that as well. Yeah guys, so thanks for watching the first video of this restoration, and hopefully next video will be test driving this thing. But yeah guys, peace.